Every single day, millions of people stop at gas stations without thinking twice. They pump fuel, grab a drink, maybe buy a snack, then drive away. But behind those 5 ordinary minutes is one of the most fascinating business models ever created. Some gas station owners barely survive. They work 18-hour days, drown in debt, and close within 3 years. Others quietly earn millions of dollars every year without ever pumping a single gallon themselves. So what separates the two? What does it actually cost to own one? And why does a business that looks so simple hide one of the most complicated financial machines in modern commerce? Stick around, because by the end of this, you'll never look at a gas station the same way again. Gas stations exist because of one unavoidable truth. Every economy on Earth still runs on motion. Cars, trucks, ships, and machines all need energy, and for now, most of that energy still comes from a pump. That's why there are roughly 145,000 gas stations across the United States alone. Not because fuel is glamorous, but because it's necessary. And necessity, when positioned correctly, becomes profit. Here's the part almost nobody realizes. Even as electric vehicles spread across highways, gas stations aren't disappearing, they're transforming. Because the real asset was never the fuel, it was the real estate, the traffic, and the 5 minutes of captured attention every customer gives without even noticing. Which brings us to the biggest question of all. How much money does it actually take to build one of these from scratch? The answer will surprise you. Before a single pump is installed, before a single light is turned on, there's a battle most people never see: the fight for location. A gas station isn't built where it's convenient, it's built where math says it will win. Owners and investors study traffic counts like stock charts, how many cars pass a specific intersection every single day. A location with 15,000 vehicles passing daily is worth exponentially more than one with 3,000, even if they're only a mile apart. Highway exits are gold, corner lots are gold, visibility from both directions of traffic, priceless. That's why prime gas station real estate can cost anywhere from $500,000 for a small town lot to over $5 million for a high-traffic corner in a major city. But here's what catches new investors off guard. The land itself might come with invisible landmines, zoning restrictions, environmental assessments, underground contamination from a previous fuel station decades ago that nobody disclosed. One environmental report, one contaminated soil sample, and a property that looked like a golden opportunity can quietly become a 7-figure liability before construction even begins. Location isn't just important in this business, it's everything. Now here's where most people's assumptions completely fall apart. They imagine a gas station is just a canopy, some pumps, and a small store. Simple, right? In reality, building a modern gas station from the ground up can cost anywhere between $1.5 million and $4 million, sometimes more. Why so expensive? Because underneath that quiet parking lot is an engineering operation most customers will never see. Massive underground fuel tanks, usually fiberglass reinforced steel, rated to hold thousands of gallons, have to be buried with extreme precision. One improper seal, one crack years down the road, and you're looking at a fuel leak that can cost hundreds of thousands of dollars to clean up, plus potential lawsuits from contaminated groundwater. Then there's the piping system connecting those tanks to every pump. The canopy overhead isn't just for shade, it's engineered to prevent lightning strikes and fuel vapor ignition. The electrical systems have to meet explosion-proof standards because you're essentially building a structure designed to safely handle a flammable, high-pressure liquid 24 hours a day in every weather condition imaginable. Add the convenience store construction, parking lot paving, lighting for nighttime security, landscaping to meet city ordinances, and a small mountain of permits. Fire department approval, environmental protection approval, state fuel commission approval, and suddenly that simple gas station looks a lot more like a mini industrial facility wearing a friendly disguise. Most people fill up their tank in 3 minutes. They have no idea they're standing on top of a multi-million-dollar engineering project. Even after construction, the spending doesn't slow down. Each individual fuel pump, the ones customers use without a second thought, can cost between $15,000 and $30,000 once you include the digital displays, card readers, and safety mechanisms. A station with 8 pumps? That's potentially over $200,000 in dispensing equipment alone, before it's even pumped a drop of gas. Then there's the technology layer most customers never think about. Leak detection systems that monitor underground tanks in real time, point-of-sale software syncing fuel prices with in-store inventory, security camera networks covering every angle of the property, because fuel theft and drive-offs are far more common than people assume. Backup generators are mandatory in many states because if the power goes out and the pumps stop working, that station isn't just losing sales, it may be violating state fuel availability laws during emergencies. And that giant price sign towering over the road? The one flashing numbers you glance at while driving? Digital versions of those can cost upwards of $50,000 installed. None of this includes maintenance. Pumps wear down, card readers fail, underground sensors malfunction. A single major equipment failure can silently drain $15,000 to $20,000 a year from an owner's pocket. Money that never shows up in the glossy brochure of owning your own gas station. Here's something that shocks almost everyone. Most gas station owners have far less control over fuel prices than you'd think. It starts at the refinery, where crude oil is transformed into gasoline. From there, it travels to regional fuel terminals, where wholesale prices shift daily, sometimes multiple times a day, based on crude oil markets, taxes, and regional supply. Tanker trucks then deliver that fuel directly to the station, often under strict supply contracts that lock owners into purchasing from specific distributors. Here's the twist. The price an owner pays for fuel that morning might be completely different from the price they paid the night before. Yet the price displayed on that giant sign out front often has to stay competitive with every station within a 2-mile radius, regardless of what the owner just paid. Which means, on any given day, a station could be selling fuel at a price barely above, or sometimes even below, what they paid for it, just to stay competitive and keep customers walking through the door. So, if fuel margins are this thin, where does the real money actually come from? We're about to reveal one of the best-kept secrets in retail. Before we get to the profit, we need to talk about the bleeding. Because long before a station earns a single dollar of profit, it has to survive a monthly financial gauntlet. Payroll for cashiers and attendants, electricity bills that spike from running lights, refrigeration, and fuel pumps around the clock. Commercial insurance, covering fire, liability, and environmental risk, that can run several $1,000s a month alone. Then there's the fuel purchase itself, often the single largest expense, sometimes exceeding hundreds of thousands of dollars a month for a busy location. Credit card processing fees quietly eat into every transaction. Property taxes climb every year. Routine maintenance, professional cleaning, marketing, licensing renewals, waste disposal, they all stack up. And then, the expense nobody budgets for, the unexpected repair. A freezer breaks, a pump malfunctions, a pipe bursts. These surprises can cost tens of thousands of dollars in a single month, and they happen more often than any owner would like to admit. By the time all of this is accounted for, a station can be moving hundreds of thousands of dollars a month and still be walking a financial tightrope. So where does the actual profit hide? Here's the twist almost nobody sees coming. Fuel isn't the moneymaker, it's the bait. The real profit engine is everything inside that little convenience store. That $2 coffee? It might carry a profit margin over 80%. That energy drink, that bag of chips, that impulse candy bar sitting by the register, all of it carries margins that make fuel look laughable by comparison. Add in lottery ticket commissions, ATM withdrawal fees, car wash add-ons, air pump charges, vacuum stations, propane tank exchanges, and package pickup services, and you start to see the real picture. Fuel gets people in the door. The store is where the money actually gets made. In fact, in a huge percentage of gas stations across the country, in-store sales generate significantly more net profit than the fuel itself, even though fuel represents the majority of total revenue on paper. It's one of the most quietly brilliant business models in modern retail. Sell something at almost no profit to guarantee traffic for something that generates enormous profit. Let's walk through a realistic example. Picture a mid-sized gas station on a busy road, seeing roughly 800 customers a day. If the average fuel purchase is around $35, and about 40% of those customers also step inside and spend an average of $6 on snacks, drinks, or lottery tickets, that single location could be generating close to $30,000 a day in combined revenue. Multiply that across a month, and you're looking at a business bringing in somewhere between $800,000 and just over $1 million in monthly revenue. Annually, that can cross $10 to $12 million for a well-positioned station. Numbers like that sound like a gold mine, but revenue and profit are two very different animals, and this is where most outsiders get completely fooled. Fuel margins are often razor thin, sometimes just a few cents per gallon after wholesale costs and taxes. Retail margins inside the store, by contrast, can be enormous, often exceeding 30 to 50%, depending on the product category. But once you blend fuel's razor-thin margins with the store's healthy margins, factor in operating costs, loan payments on the original construction, equipment depreciation, insurance, and taxes, a station generating $10 million a year in revenue might only walk away with net profit somewhere between $200,000 and $600,000 annually, depending on how efficiently it's run. That's still a strong income, but it's a fraction of what the flashy top-line revenue number suggests. This is the illusion that catches so many first-time investors off guard. Massive revenue, modest profit, and a mountain of financial obligations sitting quietly underneath it all. Now for the part almost nobody talks about, the risks big enough to end it all overnight. Fuel price volatility can crush margins in a matter of days. Economic recessions reduce driving, reduce spending, and hit revenue from every direction at once. New competition can open across the street and instantly cut a station's customer base in half. Electric vehicles are slowly reshaping demand in certain markets, forcing owners to rethink their entire business model for the next 20 years. Then there are the risks most people never even consider. Fuel theft, drive-offs, pump fraud using stolen card skimmers, cyber attacks on point-of-sale systems, natural disasters damaging underground tanks, and equipment failures that shut down operations for days. But the single scariest risk in this entire industry? Environmental liability. If an underground tank leaks and contaminates the soil or a nearby water source, cleanup costs can reach into the millions of dollars, sometimes bankrupting an owner overnight, even if the leak wasn't their fault. One environmental accident, one lawsuit. That's all it takes to erase decades of profit in a single event. This is where owners face one of the biggest decisions of their entire business. Branded stations, Shell, Chevron, Exxon, BP, come with instant customer trust, national marketing support, and negotiated fuel supply contracts. But that trust comes at a price. Franchise fees, strict branding requirements, and ongoing royalty payments that can eat into profit every single month. Independent stations keep more of their profit and have total freedom over pricing and branding. But they lose the built-in customer loyalty that comes from a recognizable logo, and they often pay more for fuel due to lacking the bulk purchasing power of major franchise networks. It's a trade-off between control and credibility, and the choice can define whether a station struggles for years or scales into something much bigger. Here's the honest answer. Starting a gas station from scratch can require anywhere from $1.5 million to over $5 million depending on location, size, and branding. Most owners don't pay that in cash, they finance it, meaning years of debt sit on top of an already thin margin business. Break-even timelines vary wildly. Some well-positioned stations recover their investment within 5 to 7 years. Poorly positioned ones can struggle for over a decade or never recover at all. So how do some owners become millionaires while others barely survive? The answer is scale. The owners who truly build wealth in this industry rarely stop at one location. They reinvest profits into a second station, then a third, then a fifth, building a small empire of steady cash-flowing properties, each one strengthening the next through shared purchasing power, shared staff training, and shared brand reputation. A single gas station is a business. 5 gas stations is an empire. So where does this business go from here? Electric vehicles are forcing a transformation, not an extinction. Smart station owners are already installing fast-charging stalls alongside traditional pumps, turning a 10-minute charging wait into an opportunity. More time inside the store, more time spending money on coffee, food, and convenience items. Hydrogen fuel stations are quietly emerging in select markets, positioning early adopters years ahead of the competition. Automation is reshaping the convenience store experience itself, with self-checkout systems reducing labor costs. AI-powered inventory systems are predicting what products will sell before they even run out. Some locations are experimenting with delivery partnerships, turning a physical gas station into a micro-fulfillment center for their surrounding neighborhood. The stations that survive the next 20 years won't be the ones that resist change. They'll be the ones that treat the fuel pump as just one piece of a much larger, constantly evolving convenience ecosystem. The next time you stop for 5 gallons of gas, look around. Every pump, every coffee machine, every snack, every customer walking through those doors is part of a business generating millions of dollars each year. To most people, it's just another gas station, a quick stop between one destination and the next. But to the owner, it's a machine, a carefully engineered system where thousands of tiny transactions, razor-thin margins, and calculated risks combine into one of the most fascinating businesses in the modern economy. An empire hiding in plain sight, 1 gallon at a time.